Hello guys, Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera to all of you. So first of all, my name is Muhamad Yusri bin Asyaari. My matrix number is 08DEP21F1065 and my lecturer name is Puan Nurul Akmal binti Kamaruddin. So, without further ado, I'm gonna tell you guys about what am I gonna presenting today. So, what is I'm gonna presenting today to you guys is about apply the understanding of Ubiquitous Sensor Network Service, which is in short term USN. So firstly, of course, we have the table of contents. So for number 1, we have introduction, which I will elaborate about USN, and number 2, application and components. Of course, I will elaborate and describe to you guys about the application and components of USN. So the third one is advantages and disadvantages. Of course, advantages and disadvantages. And lastly, we're gonna jump into the conclusion. So first, of course, the 01 introduction. So I will begin with USN definition. So a conceptual network built over existing physical networks which make use of sense data and provide knowledge service to anyone, anywhere and at any time, and where information is generated by using context awareness. Next, an ubiquitous sensor network, which is USN, is one that connects all possible sensors in a given network or environment which, theoretically, could be global. Well, typically, the sensors in a USN are smart sensors, which take input from the physical environment and use built-in compute resources to perform predefined functions upon detection of specific input, and then process data before passing it on. And then, an ubiquitous sensor network taps into the communications equipment in sensors in its defined network or range and collects the data from sensors as well as controlling actuators. So, wireless sensor area network, also known as USN, WSAN, the previous generation of sensor networks can be easily incorporated into ubiquitous sensor networks. So, ubiquitous sensor networks add scalability through mesh networking and use of tags. More than that, one of the emerging services in NGN environments are Ubiquitous Sensor Network Service, which is USN. Finally, in the 21st century, there are already many sensors and sensor networks deployed for various purposes, such as industry, public, and services. So, let's get into 02, which is applications and components. So, the USN has potential applications in civilian and military fields. For example, some civilian USN applications are environment monitoring, healthcare, intelligent transport systems, intelligent home, and so on. So, an overview of the USN ecosystem with NGN infrastructure is shown in figure. So next, I will elaborate more to you guys about the applications of USN. So first, areas of application, which is civil engineering, healthcare, home automation, transport and logistics, disaster response, environmental monitoring, agriculture and military. Then we have enabling factors, which is connectivity, falling prices for USN components, increasing reliability and decreasing size of sensors nodes, partially independent from electricity networks. For the third, we have highly application specific, which is types of sensor, choice of communication protocols and medium, energy supplies. And the fourth one, we have detection, which is of temperatures passing a particular threshold, of intruders, of bushfires, of landmines in former war zones. And the next one, which is tracking of items in supply chain management, of vehicles in intelligent transport systems, of cattle or beef in the food chain. And lastly, we have monitoring of a patient's blood pressure, of structural health of bridge and buildings, and finally of inhospitable environments. So after I explain about applications of USN, we come to the components of USN. So first of all, which is what shows in your slide right now, which is components of USN, which is the figure for components. So we're going to continue for components of USN. So sensor network, which is network of interconnected sensor nodes exchanging sense data by wired or wireless processing. So basically IP based sensors nodes, possibility of direct connection to NGN, and non-IP based nodes often managed via gateway. So for USN gateway, a node which interconnects sensor networks with other networks. So the third one, network infrastructure likely to be based on NGN. And fourth, USN middleware. Thus include sensor network management and connectivity, event processing, and sensor data mining. And lastly, we have USN applications and services platform, which is technology platform to enable the effective use of USN in a given application. So after all of that, we will come to the advantages and disadvantages, which is 3. So I will describe to you guys and tell you guys about the advantages first. So the first advantages is it is scalable and hence can accommodate any new nodes or devices at any time. Then it is flexible and hence open to physical partitions. The third one, all the USN nodes or WSN nodes can be accessed through centralized monitoring system. Fourth, as it wireless in nature, it does not require wires or cables. Refer difference between wired network versus wireless network. And the second last, USN or WSN can be applied on large scale and in various domains such as mines, healthcare, surveillance, and agriculture. So for the last advantages, which is it use different security algorithms as per underlying wireless technologies and hence provide reliable network for consumers or users. Well, that's all for the advantages, and now for the disadvantages. Of course, if we have advantages, of course there must be a disadvantages. So first of the disadvantages is as it is wireless in nature, it is prone to hacking by hackers. Second, it cannot be used for high-speed communication as it is designed for low-speed applications. And third, it is expensive to build such network and hence cannot be affordable by all. Of course, we all need this kind of networking, but it is expensive for us to buy it. And fourth, there are various challenges to be considered in USN, such as energy efficiency, limited bandwidth, node cost, deployment model, software or hardware design constraints, and so on. So lastly, the disadvantages is install topology based USN. Failure of central node leads to whole network shutdown. So which is like, if the failure of the central node, it will lead to the whole network of one place to shut down the whole network. So finally, we jump into the conclusion. So in the conclusion, which is, I will say that USN which is Ubiquitous Sensor Network Service is very effective and functioning to all of us in this era. So we all need, but expensive. So I will recommend to you guys to have more knowledge about Ubiquitous and networking USN, and will be more know about this, so we can use for a future, for a bright future for our country, and of course so will not let us behind the future technologies. So that's all from me. If you have question, you can leave the comment below, and I think that's all. Thank you for listening, thank you for your time. Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much. Spread love.